Land of the free, not so fast. California's legislature proposes an average of between 1,900 and 2,500 bills every legislative session. This year's total is a whopping 2,739. In 2024, 1,046 bills made it to the governor's desk. 890 were signed into law. 156 were vetoed. Who needs that much government? Limited government produces free and productive societies and citizens. A constitutional republic based on citizen self-governance should reflect a form of government in which citizens actually have a voice in the governance of their city, county, and state. Californians do not live in a republic. We live under the control of an oppressive oligarchy, one that strategically controls the outcome of our elections so that as citizens we cannot forge a new path through the ballot box. All this courtesy of 25 plus years of progressively strangling legislation. As an election research and educational organization, EIPCA limits its interaction with the legislature to bills concerning the election system. There are currently 46 of those bills being considered in the 2025 legislative session. Evaluating their status and fate shows that partisanship takes priority over common sense and the will of the people in the state legislature. Current facts. There are 19 Republican and 60 Democrat members of the state assembly. One seat is currently vacant. There are 10 Republican and 30 Democrat members of the state Senate. Due to the Democrat supermajority, every legislative committee is chaired by a Democrat, with a majority of the committee members also being Democrats. Committee chairs have unrestricted power to determine whether a bill assigned to that committee will even be heard and put up for a vote. Bills assigned to a committee that are not heard or are voted down die there. Unless a bill is completely innocuous or, which is rare, completely uncontroversial, the committee vote is almost always along party lines, meaning Republican proposed bills tend to die and Democrat proposed bills tend to move forward. In the first half of this year's legislative session, 15 bills have been killed in committee. 11 of those were authored by Republicans. 7 Republican-authored bills are still alive. 6 are no-brainers, such as grammar fixes or policies no one would oppose. The 7th bill has major weaknesses, but since it increases the systemic chaos, we predict it will pass. Last week was the deadline for bills to make it through their house of origin or be declared dead for this session. Here is a post-mortem analysis of the first half of this year's legislative session. Some bills that never made it out of committee would have substantially increased election integrity in the state. Polls indicate that they would have been supported by 70 to 80% of all voters. All are Republican-authored bills. AB 25, authored by Carl DeMaio of San Diego, would have required voters to show ID and prove citizenship before voting. An impressive percentage of voters are clamoring for this change, but the committee refused to even take it up. AB 1040, authored by Bill Essayli of Riverside, would have ensured that people temporarily displaced by natural disaster and planning to return to or rebuild in the same location could keep their ability to vote in that jurisdiction while temporarily residing elsewhere. Why would such a compassionate and common sense bill be killed? AB 1259, authored by Bill Essayli of Riverside, would have improved the testing and verification of the remote accessible voting system. How is that a recommendation to be rejected? SB 405, authored by Stephen Choi of Irvine, would have required voter ID. Again, a highly desired policy among voters of all parties, ethnicities, economic and ethnic groups, just not among the majority party in the legislature. One is tempted to wonder why. SB 407, authored by Stephen Choi of Irvine, would have required election certification within 10 days of Election Day. The bill addressed one of the widespread annoyances of California voters, the length of time it takes to get election results. While the dictates of the bill could not have been accomplished without repealing several existing laws, the fact that it was not given a hearing in committee deprived the author of the opportunity to offer the amendments it would have needed. As the second half of the session begins, EIPCA urges citizens to be vigilant and engaged. Legislators of both parties are still susceptible to constituent pressure. Let your representatives know that you expect them to put the needs and desires of California citizens ahead of their partisan politics. For an easy and virtually trouble-free way to use what limited freedom remains to citizens in California to influence their own destiny, please visit www.ca4la.net and register to be part of the California Action for Legislative Accountability. The fate of the state depends on you to follow through. CALA makes it simple and effective. Please do not delay. California really can be the golden land of the free once again.